Were you excited about the news of the upcoming release of the HP Reverb G2 virtual reality visor until you found out that it's not going to be compatible with your index knuckles controllers? Well, stay tuned to this update and you may just be glad you did. In addition, we also have a potential release date for you, so stay tuned for that as well, here at the VR Aperture. First off, we want to address that we don't have our usual backdrop and set, and that I'm standing, and a variety of other things that you may or may not have noticed already. But we are in the process of changing studios. It's going to be a much better place for us, larger space for us, and generally overall more efficient place to create content for you. But to the story of the day, the G2 visor, the Reverb G2, we talked about in a previous video, and to our dismay is not going to be compatible with the index knuckles controllers. We're very fond of our knuckles controllers. If you watched our last video, you know that already. But some people on the comment board, a number of people have started to stack up that there's some rumors going on that the Reverb G2 will in fact be compatible with the index controllers, and we want to give us first off a thanks to those few people, Mitch Campos and Nick Allen, and a special thanks to Covert Puppy 2 for providing us a link to some of the reference material we used for this story. So after hearing these rumors, this information, we decided to look into it a little more and specifically followed the link to the reference material and found a really lengthy, monotonous 30-step process for getting the index controllers to work with previous Windows mixed reality visors, which some people, I guess, suspect that it's going to work with the Reverb G2 because not only is HP partnering up with Valve, but they're also partnering up with Microsoft to gain some mixed reality features. And so we looked into it even further and said, okay, so there seems to be a solution, but the reviews from people who actually had attempted this and had experience with it were not good. They mentioned that the tracking isn't great, it's usable, but that after a short period of time, and sometimes as short as 30 minutes, they'd start to experience controller drift. It would slow, one of the controllers or both would start to slowly get further and further out of calibration, excuse me. And they would have to redo the calibration, redo, I guess, all 30 of those steps. And I was like, there's no way I can provide this to my audience as a potential, or fellow users of VR, as a potential solution to get the index controllers to work with the Reverb and be a basis for why they make their purchase or even pre-order, which we're always against pre-ordering until you get to see more reviews post-launch. But we started to see some other information out there that was starting to contradict other information, and so we didn't know what to think. So we called up HP directly, got a hold of a salesperson, and that person confirmed over the phone that the HP Reverb G2 will in fact be compatible with the index knuckles controllers. We were super psyched about that. You probably can tell. It will be compatible with Steam VR, the Lighthouse sensors, and the knuckles controllers. So that is amazing news. I asked her if there was some place on the web I could go to use that had this information I could use for reference, and she said no. Because the official announcement hasn't been made, they don't have that information available, which I would think would be a selling point to get those pre-orders. But considering this came directly from HP, we're pretty confident in this information. And so we're once again very excited about our Reverb G2 pre-order. Some other information we promised: a potential release date. Apparently there was a reseller that was openly advertising September 15th as the official launch date for HP, for the HP Reverb G2. But when trying to confirm that information with HP, the HP did not. They said there is no official announcement of the release date. So that retailer might have overstepped their bounds there and letting the cat out of the bag, or maybe they're just wrong. So if it is in fact true, turns out true, you might want to be getting those pre-orders in if that was your plan and you expect there to be limited quantity. And one last thing, we forgot, somehow this didn't get into the last video. We completely intended to, and so we're doing it now, and it's kind of a bummer because one of our viewers pre-ordered not knowing this information, and we assume pre-orders can be canceled, but this person seemed to be bummed out about their pre-order after finding out that the minimum spec for the HP Reverb G2 is rather high. So it is for full resolution, the minimum graphics card specification is a GTX 1080. So if you don't have a 1080, if you're below that and you really wanted to get the G2, you're gonna have to upgrade your system first. They said the specifications say that it will work with a 1070. It says half resolution, so that's either an underestimation of what the 1070 can do, or an overestimation of the 1080 doing full resolution, because those cards are not separated by a great deal of computing power. So we would probably actually recommend you going into the RTX line, getting into the 1070 Super, 1080 Super. God forbid you have the money, the 2080 Ti, to really get the full capability of this 4K display, because you know that if you're into building systems or you watch a lot of this kind of content, you know that the GTX 1080s aren't really capable of 4K resolution very well, if at all. And so considering that this display is basically two 1080 displays, or sorry, two 4K displays, we recommend you, if you're going to upgrade, and I don't know why you would go to a 1080 anyways, to the RTX line, minimum 2070. Hopefully I said that right all the way up to this. Man, it's hard to get those numbers and letters straight. GTX, old series. RTX, new series. 1070s, 1080s, old series. 2070s, 2080s, new series. Okay? So I've said it. Put the record straight. This has been a fun video. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. We'll be putting up new content as soon as we get into the new space. And we also want to mention that we really appreciate everyone who subscribed in the past month. We got an overwhelming support of new subscribers. And we would like to ask once again if you could hit that thumbs up and the bell notification, because everyone who's had even participated in the production of this channel has had to go out and get new day jobs. So we would really like to just quit our day jobs and just create content for you. So, and those subscriptions go a long way to us getting monetized and be able to buy the products and support ourselves on just creating content for you. So thank you once again for tuning in, and have a great rest of your week.